Hello everyone, so today I am going to do the Authortube newbie tag. A YouTuber I really like, Kate Kavanaugh, suggested that all new Authortubers do this tag, so I was basically like, okay. So let's just jump right into it. Question number 1, how did you find out about Authortube? I don't feel like I have a very interesting answer for this one. I'm kind of a YouTube rat. I've been watching YouTube for years, and I don't even remember the first time I watched a video that was about writing or had anything to do with the Authortube community. It's been so long, I just don't even remember, so it's not a very interesting response. I've mostly just gotten into it the last few years because I have been more of a lurker. I'm usually too shy to comment on people's videos, but I definitely watch a lot of Authortubers. What genres do you write in? So I mostly do fantasy, sci-fi, and adventure, though I have aspirations to write books in almost every other genre, and I have written a lot of books in other genres because a type of book that I also write frequently but am significantly less likely to publish is horror and supernatural. I tend to do these more for myself, so the odds of me actually publishing them someday are pretty low, but it is a category that I actually quite like writing in. I also am trying to get into thriller and suspense, but at my core, I am a fantasy and sci-fi girl, and I tend to like the adventure-y kind of stories in that, but I am all over the place. I am a dabbler, and I do all of it, basically. Number 3, what is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? So the thing is, I don't really have a preference for tense. It kind of depends on the book. And mostly I tend to write in third person. But again, that also heavily depends on the book. And then also another one that again heavily depends on the book is what category, because for years I planned on actually being a young adult author, and now I'm actually thinking new adult or maybe just adult would better suit my books. But again, I have aspirations to write in all of them. I would like to do children's books and like all of it, like literally all of it. I have written in a good portion of them. It just kind of like depends on where it will fall when I am done with the books. My main series is a lot more likely to be in the new adult or adult category just because I feel like it's a little bit too violent for young adult, or at least it deals with too many serious issues, I think, in a way, so new adult seems to be a better fit for me. It's a category that I only recently learned existed, so yeah. Also, sorry for the very loud traffic noise in the background. I don't know why it's always when I decide to record that the biggest trucks in the county drive by, but yes. Number 4, are you a plotter, pantser, or planster? So I hate to have this be my answer for everything, but it literally just depends on the book. So I would say when I started off writing, I was definitely more of a pantser. I kind of just like had an idea and I ran with it. But now, like, it really just depends. Like, this year for Nano, I was planned out almost completely, and then I ended up being forced to pants a lot of it because it didn't really work out the way that I had planned it to. And then sometimes I'm just like, I have an idea, and I'm just gonna do it, and then that's just what I do. Other times I like to be, like, meticulously detailed with my outline. It literally just depends. So like I don't even really like to call myself a planster. I guess that I'm a planster. I don't know, because sometimes it just really depends. It just really depends on the book. Number 5, are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? I am yet to be published. I'm hoping to be published. Me and my writing partner are working on finishing her series. It is a trilogy, and we're hoping to get that finished and eventually publish it relatively soon. Well, relatively soon being in a year or so, because we still have a lot to do, but yeah, I'm hoping to be published soon. Soon in relative terms. Yeah. Number 6, what publishing company, literary agent, and or printing company are you represented by or use? If you are not yet published, what is your dream publishing house and or literary agent? I don't really have one. I feel like I will just figure it out when we get there, and I will take what I can get when we get there. It's sort of not something that I feel like, at least for me personally, I put a whole lot of thought in, because I sort of am of the mindset of like, what will be, will be. So yeah. Number 7, what Authortube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? So this is going to be kind of like all over the place, because I would like to do more vlogs. Hopefully some videos where I actually talk about my writing with some confidence. I'm hoping that maybe I can do some like videos that are actually helpful to people, or share some of my personal like tips and tricks. Pretty much I'm just like going to be doing anything, and it's also a bit complicated because since my channel is also just sort of a creative channel in general, there may be a lot of videos that are totally unrelated like that, have more to do with character design in regards to drawing and sketching, as well as like other videos that are just like random with me making stuff just because I felt like it. So it's going to be a little bit all over the place, but hopefully it will be very writing centered. My favorite thing to work on is characters, character design, all of that. So probably a lot of that type of thing, just because that's also what I draw as an artist. Number 8, when did you start writing? So basically I first tried writing, like heavy air quotes on this, seriously, when I was 7. It was like absolutely terrible. And yeah, and like it was so bad. It was so bad. But then I started actually writing seriously when I was about 15 or 16, when I started working with my writing partner, and it was around the same time I was doing forum role play, which actually gave me the ability to actually write something that was, I was gonna say good. That's not accurate. That was serviceable in regards to the story at least being interesting. And yeah, that's basically it. Number 9, what was the first story you ever wrote? Okay, so this would be my fantasy story, so I have had stories basically for as long as I can remember. And in fact, a lot of the stories that I am actually planning on revisiting are some stories that I actually came up with when I was a child, because I had a lot of crazy story ideas when I was a kid. And one of those kind of crazy ideas was my book in Terra, which was like my own fantasy world that I created basically from the ground up. I came up with like an entire huge map for it. I created species. I had a whole like elaborate war story concocted, and it was like basically an epic. At some point I want to revisit it, because I actually have still continued working on this story. I've never let this one go. This is maybe my proudest point of world development and everything. And yeah, it was terrible. It was so terrible when I first did it. It had a very like cliche kind of like main character, girl. And in the future, I'm hoping that I can make it a little bit better, but it was a very like fantasy, sci-fi epic. And yeah, it was fun. Like I still like the concept a lot, and someday I hope to again write it, but yeah. And for the book that I did when I was 15 or 16, I basically did another fantasy book, which was kind of like a story about like people who could go in between the sort of like spirit world and the physical world, and were here to defend against the demon like creatures that would come out at night and try to destroy humanity. So they were like the protectors of humanity. To be totally honest, it felt very much like a D&D campaign. But yeah, that's also another idea that I would like to go back on and revisit, because it was kind of fun. And yeah. Number 10, what authors have inspired your writing the most? So this is a really, really hard question because I have a lot of them and it changes all the time. So like I have people that inspired me when I was a child, people that inspire me now. So I have like Robert Jordan, Diana Wynne Jones, which like I love her books just because honestly they're fun. My favorite book of hers is the House of Many Ways. It's just such a fun, enjoyable time. It's kind of the same thing with like Douglas Adams. I also really like Jane Austen and of course Tolkien. I can't be a fantasy person without liking that. It would be crazy. And also to another person who is actually very influential to me and or inspirational is Stephen King. I'm not maybe the biggest fan of his writing style. Like I'm not a huge like Stephen King fan, but the thing with Stephen King, I respect the work, like the work ethic so much. I aspire to have that sort of like drive that Stephen King does and the dedication to the craft that he does. So he is a very influential person to me because I just like heavily respect the ability. And that's something that I aspire to, even if maybe his writing style isn't like personally my favorite thing. It doesn't connect with me as much. You know, he's a very good writer, but I definitely have people who are my favorites, but you can't not respect Stephen King. Yes. There are a lot. There are so many, and there are like a ton that I have left out that I know I'm going to be kicking myself over when I edit this later. But yes, on to the next question. Number 11, do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get into writing whenever you can find the time? So this, I'm don't totally know how to answer this one. Again, it kind of depends. Sometimes I schedule my writing sessions and I will be on a routine. I have a little bit of a routine where certain days through my week are scheduled specifically for writing. And then a lot of times it's just kind of like whenever I am inspired and whenever I have the time. There's not really like a set thing that I can choose. I would like to maybe be a little bit more scheduled with my writing time, but yeah, I pretty much have unlimited time to write whenever I am inspired. So that's kind of a lucky thing in my personal situation. Number 12, do you type on a computer, typewriter, or write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those? And where do you write in general? Okay, so what do I use and where do I write? Okay, so I mostly use a computer or my tablet. I also occasionally use my phone, pretty much anything that is available that is digital. I don't own a typewriter. I kind of want a typewriter though, but I would literally never type on it. It would just literally be a pretty thing that I own. And I absolutely loathe writing by hand. So there are a couple things. So my hand has a few issues. I have a lot of like finger pain because for years of my life I have been kneading clay and doing very hard work with my hands. So holding a pencil to write is very painful. It's already hard when I am just drawing, but writing like words is hell. It's so painful for me. I can pretty much only do maybe a paragraph before my hand seizes up and I have to stop. I don't know why, for some reason, it's so much worse when I am writing words as opposed to drawing a picture, because I can have really long drawing sessions and painting sessions and that's fine. But when it comes to doing lettering, it's very awful. Also, too, I am extremely, extremely dyslexic. So having the computer and being able to have aids to tell me if something is misspelled or backwards is like extremely, extremely crucial in my writing ability. Because like, even though I'm pretty good, I still make mistakes and I just can't help it. And sometimes if I am writing like on paper, I completely screw up certain words and it's like illegible even to me. It's super bad. I'm crazy, crazy dyslexic. So computer, yes. Most everything else, not so much. Yeah, and I do prefer, I guess, writing on the computer. I'm a little faster at it, at least. Oh, and also for that one, I was going to be done, and then I forgot that it also asked where you write. So I tend to write at home. I am not a big fan of writing in public just because there are so many distractions. So I tend to just write at home, and I'll either sit at my desk or sit in my bed with my computer or my tablet on my lap. If I am going to write out in public, I would say I like doing it somewhere like in a park or somewhere quiet where I can kind of be left alone, but I tend to be more of a recluse with my writing, so I am an indoor child. And if I happen to be writing meanwhile I'm out, it's usually like I'm on the bus going somewhere for a couple of hours because I live in the middle of nowhere. It takes a long time to get anywhere. So I will just sit on my tablet and turn on my headphones and block out the world and do it then. So yeah. And number 13, which is the last question, what are you most looking forward to now that you are a part of Authortube? So I am definitely looking forward to getting to know people. The thing is, I am deathly shy. It's kind of hard to tell in my videos because I feel like I do okay in regards to talking. Not always. That's partly why I stammer and I mess up my words. It's because I am so nervous. So I am just as nervous, in fact, a lot more nervous when it comes to being in person and meeting people. So I'm hoping to make some friends and hopefully be able to talk more about writing because I actually don't have a whole lot of friends who are writers. I have a couple and they are very dear to me. But in general, I am just like so shy. I don't have a whole lot of friends who are writers, and I would very much like to get into that community and sort of help, like, you know, talk to people if I can. And, you know, I want to also just like be there for other people's journeys in the whole like writing process because I think it's very fascinating, and like I want to be able to support other people and hopefully be supported, you know, and just like help everybody kind of achieve their goals. I just feel like that would be a very, very cool thing. And yeah, and like, I don't know. I think that's basically it. But yes, also in regards to my writing partner with these questions, I know some of these questions are similar because pretty much we work together on like 99% of our projects. So apart from her not working with me on some of my horror books, those are mostly just a me thing. I know a lot of these are similar. Not all of them. She is definitely more of a planner than like a pantser or anything, but essentially these questions are similar. At some point, it would be great if we could sit down and maybe do a video with just her answers, but I'm just gonna like wager a bet that 90% of them are similar, so if you're wondering. But yeah, thank you so much for listening and hanging out for a second. And like, if you are a part of Authortube or are just a writer, talk to me. I'm curious. I'd like to get to know you. It might take me a hot second to respond because again, I'm so shy and I feel so bad because I'm just this terrible like person when it comes to responding because I'm usually just like deathly shy and I'm like, I really want to talk to you, but I don't know how. So yeah, so like, let's get to know each other. I'm super excited. to get to know more people. And like everyone has been so nice already. Like I was shocked after I just posted my first nano vlog, like how many people like commented and were like so wonderful and nice. Like I feel like I'm getting like all emotional about this. It's like so stupid. But it was just like, it was a great feeling. So like, hopefully it will just keep getting better. And yeah, so I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching.